So since we're talking about female Black representation, let's discuss this as a culture, right? So do you feel like growing up and even now, your African American, Black and Brown artists, whether they are in the real world, your bosses, people that you know that are of high stature, um, in music industry, in the film business, do you feel like they represent their culture in any way? And why do you think that if they don't, why don't you think they do that?
I feel like they usually start out that way. And then the more money they get and the more fame they get, the more the industry has a hand in what their image is. And they no longer are as connected to what's happening on the ground level or grassroots anymore. And I think that kind of goes across like all genres, like music, movies, I mean, all of it. There are still some artists, actors that are very connected to the Black community, the African American community, and still are very vocal about things that we're going through currently and have been going through. But then there's others that just kind of stand back. It's almost like they know if they say too much, then their dollar is going to be affected by the power that is that controls their money, which usually are these record labels, these whatever the actor people are above the whoever's above the actors, those companies, whoever gives them the movie, the producers, they're most likely white when they make these huge productions to make the kind of money they're looking for. So I think the further up they get, the less vocal they become, unless they have a really big hand in their own creativity. If they don't, then they tend to kind of shrink back. And for what I've seen, so that's kind of how, I mean, I feel like we'll hear a lot more of like the B+ list actors and singers than we will from the A+ ones when things start getting a little shady.
They feel like they have more to lose, so they don't want to take that chance. And then we get slammed with examples of what happens if you so-called step out of line. Nick Cannon, Arsenio when he had Farrakhan on, or so they say. And it doesn't even have to be so, but we believe it. So we either A, fall in line, or we just stay silent. So I think when we have a strong sense of self and really have understanding, we don't have that fear. And we just are able to be our authentic selves and let it do what it do. Because at the end of the day, you don't get any extra points for falling in line. It's just a matter of time. So, I try to stay true to what I believe and what I know to be so, but everybody's not there yet. So again, we'll pray for those.
Yeah, I see like the industry is just straight up racist. This is bottom line, right? And just how we are depicted in different films, even the artists that they choose, like record labels to push, they don't really have good messages, It's like very demonic. If you see a lot of these young rappers coming up and all of a sudden, angels on fire, demonic eyes, blood running out of your nose, that's something cool now. And in movies, they always have the movies of either you're a slave or what they're called gangbanger, like that's all the movies we saw, you're in a gang, or it's just you're playing some drug addict in the movie. So you have those three things, and that's not, you stripped of your history, you stripped of your legacy and all of that stuff. So now you're in these films, and this is all you amount to. This is what's good enough. And then you have people that are not Black telling your stories. They're telling your story. They're feeding the masses. This is what you need to know about the Black people. This is what we're going to show you and tell you and desensitize you and groom you to believe about Black culture. And they're defining it, and they're the ones who are in control. And, when anybody who's in the industry that is of color and they try to do different things, like look at Tyler Perry. That man he's a trailblazer because he got wind of it very quickly. And he had a real divine presence, right? He just knew, like, this was my calling. I'm about to change the game. I'm going to start showing Black people in films like you're a lawyer, you're a doctor. you have money, you can own a home, like, you know, and seeing that was really good to be able to see Black people in a different light and realizing that, you know, we do have that power. We could sell tickets, you know? So yeah, I think it's a lot to fight against when everything is against you, you know?
And then when you accomplish that, and then you have your own people demonizing, like, oh, he's just doing this, or he's pandering, or it's like he's putting people to work. He's independent. And the more he grows and the more he does and the more people he puts on, the more we can do. We're not one-dimensional people. We are pimps. We are drug addicts, but we have layers. And when the character, like you said, is written by other people and is one-dimensional, that's when I get affected. Like the show Underground Railroad. Everybody in the reviews, and it wasn't us, it was before we even knew, was downing it like, oh, another slave movie. But this was a different slave movie. They were getting away. They were rebelling. They were thinking. So you had people jumping on that bandwagon like I'm not supporting it, and it was a hell of a show. And then they canceled it after one season. I was pissed. So we tend to let, again, others dictate how we feel about us and what we're doing. What we first celebrate, we then let them have us flip on it. We build it up and then tear it down. And we don't have to agree on every single project someone does or how they decide to express themselves. The cancel culture gotta go. It gotta go. We cancel at the wrong damn time. And for the stupidest stuff. It's like the stupidest thing. So, and that's all. My rant is done for this one.
You know, I'm gonna say, you know, the only, so with some people, Black people, I feel like they do it when it matters. Like I, for the longest, have said like, you know, I was speaking to someone about it. They said, well, maybe, you know, everything, you know, people do, you know, it's not out there. But I'm like, Oprah should be out there. So why is she not putting herself out there? She's, you know, posting videos of her grilling in her, you know, in her house. And then all of a sudden she has Breonna Taylor cover of her magazine. But when I think about like actors and stuff, the only person that I can really see that didn't succumb to like those roles and things like that is Will Smith. Honestly, he played little corny characters. People used to make fun of him and everything, but he did not go in there trying to be a drug dealer. And even when he did play something that was, you know, he played a cop, Bad Boys. You know, he wasn't a drug dealer and doing all this crazy stuff. He did stuff that he wanted to, and people made fun of him for that, saying he was corny. But I don't feel like the people that are, you know, that have the power are representing Black people as they should. Because like they said, like when they get that money, they forget about it. And I feel like when I was growing up, the rap, the music and stuff, that was presented through a lot of the music. Like what are those the groups? I can't remember all of them, like Public Enemy and
yeah, but then we had trash music then too.
Yeah, but I mean a lot of them, you know,
it was more of a broad, you had balance.
Right.
You had conscious, you had trash, you had party, you had bullshit.
And that was all trash. And it doesn't represent it. It's just making white people feel like, oh, that's what y'all guys really are. And, you know, if I give you money to sing about it and it's going to make me $1, so hey, they don't care. They do not care.
No, but we have to care.
I know, we do. But, you know, it's people see that money and like, I want to have millions. And it's like they don't care about that. It's like selling your freaking soul.
I mean, for me, honestly, that's kind of where I was with it. It is very important for us to tell our own story. And it's also very, very important for us to be seen on big screens telling our story, because that, again, we have so much going against us already, including that self-hate. And if there's a little person, a little woman that's sitting there and not seeing herself in the world being represented, because we all want relaxed hairs and we all want to dress a certain way. We all are bleaching our skins. We're all, when we get there, we're not even behaving like we do. We're not bringing our culture and showing it forth. It's almost a shame. Like, we're ashamed to be who we are, right? So when that small person is growing up and never seeing herself, it is a problem. That's the problem. You know what I mean? And if only time she sees herself is with 20 kids strapped to her back with some drug dealing boyfriend, and her life is going in shambles and she's a crackhead, then you're giving her more obstacles and hurdles to jump over. I thought I was a prodigy, 18 and never pregnant. Like, you have no idea how much that was like a thing, that you came out of the hood and you ain't knocked up. And not you knocked up and you got abortions, but it didn't happen. Because growing up, even in your own culture, they're telling you boys only want one thing, right? So again, these cliches are playing against people, and they're hearing it from when they're little kids, and you grow up thinking that way, that, like you said, that someone that is Black could be doing the very things that we complain about, and we're still hating on him for it. We're still killing Tyler Perry for it. And it's like, but he's doing the things that we're complaining about that's not getting done. You know what I mean? This idea of your savior will be perfect is insane. That whoever is going to represent you the way you is going to live this perfect life. They're going to have this perfect kids, these perfect lifestyles, and perfection in humanity is just non-existent, right? We're all human beings. We all fall. We all want forgiveness. We all want understanding. And at the end of the day, we all are all people, regardless of the color of our skin, right? And I think that we're waiting for Black people just always have something to say. And a lot of the time it's very deflecting that from themselves, but it is them always having something to say. And they don't realize that when there's a small person in the room sitting next to you, when you're trashing a Tyler Perry or going at him for this, now you're skewing their perception, you're skewing their information and what they know to be true, because you're their parents, you're the credible source of information, and they trust you to tell them what's true. So then they grow up thinking the same thing, and it just keeps continuing over and over again. So for me, yes, Black representation is very, very important. I think that in the 90s, I was getting more of it, right? I was getting more of that Black representation than I feel like I'm getting now, right? So when artists do that, we're still going at them. Oh, for example, if anyone watched Beyonce's Black is King, there's this whole debate online going on about how she's not African and she should not be. And it's like, okay, well, ones that are African, right? All the guys that are African, that are putting your Afro beats out and your true African music out, you're not popping and putting them on blast. You know, you're not presenting them with, you're not buying their product. You're not promoting them. You know what I mean? But Beyonce comes out and does it. By the way, she's the Michael Jackson of our time. She has the biggest platform to even do it on. Why is it a problem that she does it? Why? Because it's not coming in the perfect savior package that we all wanted in. And I feel like we got to get over that. But how do you guys feel about that?
I feel that's the program again. We're going to smack her him before she may offend them. So they don't even have to say anything. We're going to come for her and tear her down. She's demonic. She's this, she's that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so they don't have to do it anymore. We do it for them. We do it for them. And we have to, again, use our own mind, use our own brain, and stop letting others speak for us. And as you said, tell our story and how we feel about our story.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have with representation in the arts and movies is that the people controlling it are all white. And they're all focused on showing the image that is going to make them the most money, no matter what it does to that background. They want to whitewash our history. They want to make sure that the star is the best known person of that time, no matter what it means to the historical context of the story being told. And it's one of the most annoying things to see that all of these pharaohs from Egypt in Africa are always played by a white person. And I'm like, no, at least get someone with some serious melanin in there, because that would be true to the story. But they don't want to do that. They want to do what is best for the money. So when people like Tyler Perry or Beyonce make against the status quo, I love it. I appreciate it. I hail it up. It may not always 100% be what I like personally, but the fact that they're giving us a platform, the fact that they're showing us what we are about, and it's coming from people of our own color, that's a lot. And it shows us that we can actually do it. We can actually challenge the status quo. We can be successful at it, and we can help each other challenge the status quo.
Like, I remember when the Cosby Show was out. Now everybody remembers it fondly. Oh, we love it. We need another Cosby. But I clearly remember when that show was out that it wasn't real. It wasn't realistic. It's like, I don't know nobody like that in my hood. All right, but somebody does. And so it was, you're being given an image that may be missing in your community, and now you don't even want to entertain it on TV. Everything we complained about, all we get is the drug dealer, the pimp to this. Now you have a doctor, an attorney, a family, living a certain lifestyle, showing you how you can get there. And then you get the backlash. So, okay, like I said, maybe it's not. When I was growing up, because of my age, fair housing was just kind of becoming legal. It was still very segregated. So you were very likely to live on the same street as a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, somebody unemployed, everything, because we were contained to certain neighborhoods. So even if you didn't have 2 cents to rub together, you got to see all different socioeconomic brackets in your face. So you saw what was possible. After desegregation, we ran those who could. So now if you don't have 2 cents to rub together, all you see is other people that don't have 2 cents to rub together. And you're in a community that's being economically starved, so it just creates a whole different situation. But like I said, I definitely remember a lot of chatter about Cosby wasn't real. But now that it's over and it's gone, we celebrate it, how wonderful it was, you know, but we can't forget that. And just because you may not know it personally doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Because again, we're not one-dimensional. And they would have us believe we're one-dimensional, so you can't even imagine something outside what's right in front of you.
Thank you for that. You're absolutely correct. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Nicole, you brought up some great points. I completely agree with that. It is a lot of who controls the money. But at the same time, even in the regards to Bill Cosby, right? To me, again, it all falls under this perfect superhero that's going to come into play, right? And we kind of give a pass to who we want to give a pass to based on how famous they are, right? So, oh, Chris Brown beat up Rihanna. All of a sudden, we're gonna pick sides, right? Oh, Bill Cosby did X, Y, and Z. Like you said, that cancel culture definitely does have to go, because I personally believe that there's no perfect human, right? And the difference between us and them is their dirt is for the public to see, right? Their dirt is for the public to see, for the public to judge. And we just sit down in the corner, tossing our stones and hitting them. But we give them no pass. It's almost like I always say about Jamaican people and their service. I know when I go into a Jamaican restaurant, if I think I'm going to get incredible service, I got another thing coming. That's not what's going to happen, right? I'm going to walk in and they're going to give me terrible customer service, right? And we still go. All of us still go. And nobody says, ever, if you don't start giving us proper customer service because we spend our money here, our hard-earned money, then we're going to cancel your business. Does anybody do that? Nope. They still go back the next day to get the crappy service. Why? No one says, can I tell this person that their service is terrible, that they need to work on it? Can I tell them this? Can we all say that? So we're not even trying to help each other as a people, right? So we'll just stay in the corner, eat their food, watch their shows, participate in their music, and throw our stones on the side. But no one says anything. And if at the end of the day, we're representing our people, we should be able to say, your service is terrible, and you not be canceled for it. But understand that that's something you need to work on, right? We should be able to be like, oh, well, we feel like you don't do enough for Black culture. You know what I mean? We can say that and not cancel him for it, but give him as something to work on. Give it as something to work on. We don't do that. We won't give the criticism publicly together and let it be constructive in a helping way. We'll just participate and stay in the corner and throw our stones. And I feel like this voice, right, that we all have now, these quote unquote trolling that we all do now, I think as a community, we all really need to get together and be more positive in the way that we're directing our message, right? It's not so much getting on there and just saying whatever you want to say and, oh, it is what it is. There's consequences to that. It's really us getting together and saying, nobody is perfect, right? We love what it is that you do. We appreciate you, but here are some rooms of improvement. What do you think? And not go, you know what? He didn't say what I wanted him to say. He ain't making the movies. She ain't from no Africa. Throwing stones in the corner. But are we still gonna buy the album, listen to the music, still participate in it, just like we do? We go to the restaurant still. We should be, if I spend my money with you, and time is money. So if I spend my money with you, I should be able to give you constructive criticism and not have to go to it being canceled. That's just my opinion on that.